What's up guys, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. I'm actually going to be reviewing two collections from Zoya for fall 2021. We've got their nostalgia collection that actually came out earlier this month, and then we also have their brand new rose palette collection. So we've got 11 polishes total, all with a cream finish, and then the rose palette actually comes with a lip gloss, which I'm wearing right now by the way. But before we get into the review, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. You can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in your creativity. They have a ton of different class subjects from creative writing to photography to videography to self-care, and it's curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. I have actually been using Skillshare for about a year now. It's something that I purchased before I ever had the opportunity to work with them, and it's something that I really recommend. It's my go-to for learning new things, and I take a ton of classes on there, but most recently I've been taking a class called Portrait Photography Shoot and Edit Instagram-Worthy Shots by Jessica Kobasi. I actually watch her YouTube videos, so I was really excited to come across her class on Skillshare. I'm only about halfway through it so far, but I feel like I'm already learning so much, especially in terms of using natural light to my advantage in photography. It's just something I have always wanted to learn how to do. I really love taking pictures of other people, so really excited to finish that class and learn a little bit more. And I do have a special deal for my subscribers. The first 1,000 people to click on the link in the description will get a free 1-month trial to Skillshare. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Like I said, it's something I highly recommend. I've been using them for so long and I'm just a huge fan. So thank you again so much Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. So back to the review. If you haven't heard of Zoya before, they are a mainstream salon nail polish brand that is vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients. They are cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. And they're also 10-free, meaning they are free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that are often found in nail polish. So like I said, we've got two collections today. We have the Nostalgia collection, which is 6 cream nail polishes for fall 2021. And then we also have their brand new Rose Palette collection. So we've got 5 cream polishes and then we have 1 lip gloss. And there are a few similar shades across both collections, so I'm going to be doing my usual comparison at the end, but I'm also going to be showing you guys the potential dupes. So let's just dive right into the swatches of the polishes and then we'll talk a little bit more about pricing and availability. So let's just get right to it and roll the footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am going to be using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm using the Cuccio base coat. So we'll start with the Nostalgic collection first, since that one did come out a little bit earlier. This first shade is called Mila, and as you can see, it's a nice deep red cream shade, and on the first coat it actually looks a little bit lighter. I wouldn't call this a jelly formula, which a lot of reds tend to be. I would say it has some jelly-like consistency to it, but I'd probably call it more of a crelly, where it's like a mix in between a cream and a jelly. But I am able to get full opacity in 2 coats. It doesn't look patchy at all, and as you can see, it's also super self-leveling. So an absolutely gorgeous deep fall vampy shade. Next up we have the shade Rumi, and this one is a really interesting one. It's actually sort of this like dusty peachy salmon pink color, and it has a little bit of a warmer undertone to it, but it's also slightly dusty. So it's not as warm as it appears to be. It's almost like a slightly cooler toned version of salmon, if that makes sense. And this one is a full cream finish. As you can see, it's super opaque. I got perfect coverage in 2 coats. The formula of these is just so easy to work with, and it really only takes a couple of swipes with the Z-Wide brush. Next up we have the shade Vivi, and this one is a very soft pastel pink cream shade. Again, we have this extreme opacity here. Now this one was actually kind of interesting, and I think we can actually get a little shot of the self-levelingness of the polish in action here, because when I first did my first 2 coats, I didn't do a great job making it very even, so it looked like it needed a 3rd coat, but as it dried it actually leveled out on my nails. So you can see here when it's dry it is perfectly opaque in 2 coats, but just in case I did want to put on a 3rd coat just to show you guys what that looked like. Now I would just wear this in 2 coats, but if you have longer nails than me, you might need a 3rd for full opacity. Next up we have the shade Austin, which is a really beautiful, soft, dusty blue cream shade. Again, just incredible opacity going on here, and I really love this color. It looks a little bit light, but I feel like it's definitely deep enough to be a nice fall shade, and honestly, I would wear this a lot in the winter too. I feel like this is a very nice wintry, cool color. So here it is in 2 coats, perfectly self-leveled, looks absolutely gorgeous on. Next up we have the shade Cooper, and you guys know me, I really love green nail polishes, especially when they're these less typical greens, these almost like uglier greens. Now, I wouldn't say this is anything near being like a chartreuse or anything that's truly an ugly color, but I feel like shades like this are definitely still a little bit unusual on the nails. So I definitely love this one. It has this nice depth to it. It has a little bit of an olivey tone, but not strong enough that it's that kind of chartreusey color, but it's perfect coverage in 2 coats and it just looks really beautiful on. And finally we have the shade Becca, which is a nice deep, almost eggplant purple cream shade. It has a really nice deep color to it, but this isn't the type of shade that actually looks black on the nails, maybe in extremely low lighting, but I would say in most lightings you can definitely tell that this is a purple. It's just that nice deep royal purple. It's got a little bit of a dustiness to it, so it's not super saturated on the nails, and it did give me full coverage in 2 coats. Surprisingly a little bit less opaque than some of the lighter shades, but still got that full coverage in the second. So here are all of the colors together, and I have to say I'm actually not a huge fan of this color story with all the shades together. I feel like I'm definitely a collection type of person, so if a set of colors looks really nice together, I'm more likely to love it. Individually, I actually think all of these shades are pretty great, but yeah, all together I'm actually not totally set on it. What do you guys think of these? Anyway, let's move on to the Rose Palette collection. Now, like I said, we have a few very similar shades from the Nostalgic collection, but I am going to be showing a little chart of the possible dupes at the end of this part of the review, so definitely stay tuned for that. This shade Palmer is the lightest of the batch, and this one is a very bright salmony, peachy pink kind of color, very similar to the shade Vivi, but this one is a lot brighter, more saturated, and it also has a warmer tone to it. So once again, I felt like in 2 coats it did give me full opacity once it leveled out and dried out, but I did want to show you guys what it looked like with a 3rd coat, just in case for those of you with longer nails might need it. Personally, I don't think this one needs it at all. I think it would even be a 2-coater on longer nails, but I'm not too sure, so just wanted to do that just in case. Next up we have the next lightest shade in the collection, and this one is called Marcia or Marcia, depending on how you pronounce that name, and this one is a really beautiful deep salmon cream shade. This one was pretty much just a 1-coater on me, super opaque, super self-leveling, absolutely gorgeous on the nails. I love how bright and warm this shade is. I just think it's a lot of fun, and I really loved the formula. Next up we have the shade Maggie, which is a really beautiful, very warm magenta pink cream shade, and this one was actually my favorite of all of the 11 polishes that I'm showing you guys today. There's just something about this very warm pink that really speaks to me, especially this time of year. It's such a beautiful color, and it just gave me really incredible coverage. Once again, this one was basically a 1-coater on me, but I am showing you guys what it looks like in 2, just so you can see what it looks like as a full manicure. Next up we have the shade Rochelle, and this one is the next darker shade in the collection. As you can see, this is a monochromatic collection, and each shade is slightly darker and different from the last, so they're all a little bit similar, but they definitely work really well together. This one is a nice deep vampy red shade that actually has just the tiniest hint of pink running throughout, so it has this nice cool toned red vibe going on. Again, really incredible opacity, really incredible formula, easy self-leveling, and it just looks so beautiful on the nails. And finally we have the shade Susie, which is a very deep red shade. This one I would say is a true jelly formula. You can see on this first coat it's definitely very sheer, and it's got that sort of buildable color going on. So the more coats that you do with a jelly polish like this, the deeper the color is going to be. So you can see even in just that second coat, it's already significantly deeper of a red shade. So I ended up doing 2 coats for this one. Looking at it now on camera, I probably should have done a third. It's a little bit patchy around the cuticle area, so I think I probably should have done a third coat on this one just because of that jelly formula. So like I said, we've got this nice monochromatic color scheme going on here. Here are all of the shades next to each other, and I think they are so beautiful. This is the kind of color story that I absolutely love. I think all the shades work really nicely together, and I think it's fun that there's 5 of them because that's the perfect amount for a Skittle manicure, so you can just kind of do an ombre on your nails without having to do any nail art. So I think that's really fun. So we did have 3 pinky red shades in the Nostalgic collection, and there were definitely some overlapping similarities in the colors. So I made this little chart so you could see what the shades look like next to each other. So the first 3 shades on the top are from the Nostalgic collection, and then the other 5 shades are the Rose Palette collection. So I lined them up so you could see the differences. I would say the Nostalgic collection is overall a dustier group of colors, so it's not as saturated, and I think they're also all more cool toned across the board. I think the Rose Palette is a little bit warmer and a little bit more vibrant of a colors, so overall I think I would choose to pick the Rose Palette collection just because for my personal skin tone, I think that the warmer, more saturated colors look better on me, but I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. All of the formulas were really good and all of the colors are really pretty, so I guess it just depends on your preference. Honestly, they're very slightly different. I don't think you need them both, but if you do get them both, I think they're different enough. It just kind of depends on what mood you're in and what kind of undertones you're looking for. So those are the polishes, and like I said, I really enjoyed these. The formulas are really good. Zoya is another one of those brands that I feel like has recently improved their formula a lot. I want to say fall of last year is when I noticed their formula getting significantly better and more self-leveling. I also love their wide flat brushes. The polishes themselves actually come with a round skinny brush, but they do offer separately their Z wide brush, which is that wide flat brush that has the rounded tip. That's just my personal preference, but you can use whichever one you want. I know Zoya often has promotional deals where if you get a full set, you usually get these Z brushes for free. But yeah, as far as the polishes go, I feel like I slightly prefer the Rose Palette collection over the Nostalgia collection. Both of them are really good. I don't necessarily think that either collection has anything incredibly unique or groundbreaking, but I feel like they're just good quality polishes, and if you don't already have these colors, these are definitely good ones to pick up. I think the reason that I'm drawn to the Rose Palette is because I think it's a really interesting color story. I know the shades are very similar, but I feel like we haven't gotten something like that in a while where it's like more of a monochromatic collection, so I just really love that. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the Rose Palette collection actually comes with a little lip gloss. This is the shade Starlit. I'm wearing it on my lips right now. I'm not usually a lip gloss person, but I do have this on over a nude lipstick, and I have to say, this smells really good. That's all I'm smelling right now, and it smells incredible. It's making me want candy. I feel like it kind of has like a little bit of a strawberry smell, but it also smells very sweet. It's also not too sticky, actually. I feel like that's the reason why I don't usually wear lip gloss. I feel like it's so sticky that my lips kind of get stuck together when I'm talking, but I'm not finding that with this. So yeah, I don't know. Little mini lip gloss review going on here. I should mention, because I'm wearing it over a nude lipstick, it looks a little bit warmer than it is on its own. I would say this is more of like a fuchsia pinky kind of color, not necessarily this nude color, but I actually love this combo that I have going on right now. So these polishes come in the regular 15 milliliter bottles, and the price actually varies based on where you get it. On the Zoya website, the polishes retail for $12 USD each, but they're also available from HB Beauty Bar for $8.95 USD, and you can also use my discount code Kelly to get 22% off your order there. Just a quick note, on the Zoya website, the Rose Palette collection is only available as the full set with the 5 polishes plus the lip gloss, so you can't get them individually from the Zoya site, but you can buy them individually from HB Beauty Bar. So if you're interested in getting just a few of them and not the full collection, I definitely recommend grabbing those from HB Beauty Bar instead. By the way, just a quick note, something I actually actually just recently learned, HP Beauty Bar also carries the Zoya Remove Plus. This is the nail polish remover that I have been using for the last few years, and I honestly love it. It's a little pricey, but at HP Beauty Bar, you can get the 8-ounce bottle with the little push top. I don't know what that's called, but it's very convenient. And it retails for $9.50 at HP Beauty Bar. So yeah, that is it for my thoughts, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of these two collections? Which one do you prefer? Are you planning on picking any of these shades up, or have you already? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Huge shout out to my Cosmic Admirals on Patreon, Amanda M, Braxton Scott, Kristen, and Rocket Man's daughter. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Okay, today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Kristen, and Kristen wants to know, what are you most proud of being a left-handed person? So I feel like I could take this question one of two ways. Either being able to do things despite being left-handed, or things that I do because I'm left-handed. So I'm going to share both. But if you guys are right-handed and you don't know, being left-handed is not only a little bit more rare, but it's also a lot more difficult to do things that right-handed people take for granted. Even things like using scissors, they're usually built for right-handed people, so it's actually kind of painful to like hold, not painful, but it's just like digs into your skin a little bit to hold most scissors. Also, you know, when you're using a computer, even just using a mouse is something that's really for right-handed people. To be fair, there is such thing as left-handed scissors, and there's also a left-handed mouse that you could use, but I feel like it's almost harder to, one, come across those things, and two, to adapt to those things. Like something like using a computer. I used to use a left-handed mouse, but I feel like it was so much harder to know which button to click. That kind of thing is actually really tricky to figure out. Personally, I just like using the trackpad on my laptop. That's just the easiest for me. But yeah, there are a lot of small things I feel like a lot of people don't realize are pretty inconvenient for lefties, but totally unrelated to that. I think the thing that I like the most about being a lefty is when people see me write stuff down. If you think about it, when you're writing English, it goes from left to right, right? So as a lefty, when you're writing stuff down, as you write, the bottom, whatever this part is of your hand, is smudging the words as you write them. So I think it's pretty common for left-handed people to write at an angle. I actually write downwards instead of across. This is such a whole thing. Okay, so assuming that I want to write something across the front of this, right? Instead of writing like this, I would put it sideways and I would write it like this. So I feel like that's just an interesting thing. Whenever people notice me writing sideways, they're like, oh, I didn't realize you're a lefty. Or they're like, why are you writing sideways? But that's just honestly the easiest way to write for me personally as a left-handed person, so that I'm not smudging what I'm writing. I also feel like learning like hand lettering and calligraphy is extremely hard as a left-handed person, just because it doesn't flow as naturally, because you have to keep on, you know, lifting your hand. So that's something I'm pretty proud that I've been able to learn mostly. It's a little difficult, but I'm still learning. Do I have any left-handed fans though? I'm actually pretty curious, so let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!